January 17th. I'm checking. I'm confirming. Yep. It's Friday. It's Freaky Friday, January 17th. And I didn't send this out because I'm going to let the DNA do its work. Because this, which in a simulation you would call an algorithm, but it's an alpha angle gamma flow motor. It's an alpha gamma flow motor. And gamma is blood. So and even this algorithm that they say is in TikTok is human DNA. It's especially those of us who have pure energy fields and that have been cleaning and know how to read energy and have had to utilize YouTube, the news, Instagram, all these different applications that had different people on them in order to pull in the correct energies this entire time because of how it was all gated. Now, why I even started talking about TikTok when I came on here is because now when you go live, I'll say it again, it's the same thing as TikTok on YouTube. It counts down. The shorts that are on YouTube are using TikTok technology. This Red Book application, now the Chinese people were upset because they just changed the interface. They just changed the interface to look like TikTok. In this current time that we're in, and this will be a blackout. I'm not picking it up. I've just got to get all of this. Is like a vlog. So if you're here, this isn't, I'm not presenting this information because it's not how it works. It's not how consciousness works. It's not how whenever you uncoil from all of this that's energetically tying down a human energy field and you uncoil the human energy field, then the data comes in as it's uncoiling. The data comes in, and if you happen to be the one that's coiled up in it or a part of the setup from 5 years ago, then there's stuff that's popping off around your house. I've already had 2 dead male bodies reported into me today from my inner circle, both male. The power has completely shifted. The power in every single group down here that you thought had any level of power has shifted. Does it mean it's gone? No. It's tied up. If you planted a tree and then you knew that that tree was going to grow to be a beanstalk in 3 years, and eventually that beanstalk was actually made to come unrooted, and then that beanstalk is supposed to then move forward in some type of way in order to pull the rest of the field up into a different energetic. Well, you can't take the root they were all digging in the roots. All they did was every single time that sucker started moving, they'd put a thrust, they'd anchor it down, and they do it in all of us are strung together in dimensions. Our energy works together in a group, in a team. This is why the spiritual community could never get it together. Spiritual community doesn't want to work together as a team. The spiritual community wants the spirit to run you, but they don't want anybody down here organizing the actual people. Am I correct? I mean, because that's what religions are doing. The ones that are gathering and have money and have facilities and air in Sedona and get together and do their weird ass crap. You know, it's not. It's always some type of lower entity that's governing whatever it is from some type of religious sect or old sigils or whatever. But the spiritual community, the true spiritual community, the true originals technology alchemy. Okay, this is all coming up for a couple of reasons. Number one, this whole thing is about storage. This is what I'm seeing. Before I continue, I'll tell you that if you've been having some weird energies, you've been having some weird doubts, you've been feeling really strange, then what I would tell everyone is that our ship was under attack. Everybody that was in the ship, you're not aware of what's been going on the outside of the ship, where we've been attempting to land the ship. But every single time that we get close to land, then they want to send in another one of their hooks and another one of their cords. But it's just old magic, and it's all from an old setup. I'll remind everybody that when you're dealing with an original, then what you're dealing with is ethers. So we're reading your intention, and all the ones that were coming at us this whole time had very specific intentions. No matter what you did to us, you did it all in a lie, because you didn't tell us what you did. So since you wouldn't tell us what you were doing, then what you did was you left it open to interpretation in the spirit. So we are seeing those energies come at us because everything's done in a low frequency. I don't care if you send it through a line. I don't care if you send it through the moon. I don't care how you damn send it. We're going to see it because you're sending it in a lower frequency, because your intention is fucking low. Right, Jay? J-Lo? So what we did this past 4 years is change it all in the middle. What we did since 2020 is change it all in the middle of it. That's why a lot of us were going through things that nobody had any idea and thought that we were nuts. But no, what was really happening is that's why I had to do so much of this in California. That spinal tap that happened to me around July and August of 2022, that energy didn't raise to what you'd consider the 3D plane until January 7th. When we were being handled and all this magic was happening and the rituals were happening, those of us that the rituals were being done to, there are groups of us. There were large groups of us. They weren't necessarily sure exactly who all was in it. They were figuring it out over the last 4 years, okay? And then they're going to find the ones of us that are connected into the most of y'all, no matter. That's all that they're looking for. There's no spirit in their world. They're only looking for a battery holder. They're looking for a carousel holder. They're looking for one of us that can link in a whole bunch of others. Well, the only ones of us that can do that are the ones that are originals from your sedation levels. And we've been rewalking creation. We've been rewalking the founding of the United States of America. We've been rewalking the founding of these other countries and continents. We've been recreating, literally what's happening is that it's all being recreated the way it was originally created. You're seeing it. All the spells and rituals that all these groups have been doing, all of them together, working together, which is why NATO was even ever formed. So entire continents and races of beings were being tuned to 5 different factions down here. Whatever your skin type and whatever your skin color is, if you're all wrapped up in that, then you're wrapped up in it. And every single one is being run from a frequency charge to hit your skin. So that whenever the frequency of the planet moves up into these uncharted frequencies, because the human race has never been in these frequencies before, most of us are so used to having these rituals and spells done to us. The only difference is this time, some of us witnessed it. The others felt it. Some of us walked it. Those of us who walked it were way more than a curse breaker. The ones who witnessed it and felt it, you're curse breakers. The ones who walked it in the physical are somehow tied up into an incarnation machine. And there'd be at least 5 of us on the planet. There'd be one of us assigned to each ring of races on certain time counts. We finally found out who Austin is. You know, I only know about Masonry enough to undo it. One of the deceptions that the enemy never saw, we've been telling them this whole time, but they didn't believe us. They don't believe us until probably about right now. All of the 5 of us, and even the curse breakers, because it's like if the 5 of us that are the incarnate have the pieces to the machine, then the group of what you'd consider the curse breakers would be getting the data and the information and the directions. Because the 5 that have been separated into machine parts, man, it's like we're those energies are working again, but we don't know who we are. We're having to do it all in the ethers and run it through thousands and thousands of humans in order to get it from one being to another. I lost my train of thought. Technology, ology, anything, any word in the English dictionary that has ology on the end is running a oligarchy system. Biology, astrology, I mean, how many ologies? Technology, all of them. All of them. Anything that's got ology linked on the back end works together in a system. It'd almost be like your 5 incarnates. All pieces of an ology. All very different ologies. All work together in order to form a true out of simulation. Ologies are only used when you're in a simulation. When you come out of a simulation, you realize everything's astronomy. And astronomy breaks the curses of the ology. The astronomy and the stars and the energetics and the frequency are what's running everything down here. And space is nothing but a bunch of space. Mars is RAM. Y'all remember ROM and RAM? Well, what's more? What's ROM? ROM. Let's look at the let's look up the definition. It's 1232. Like we're undoing this whole TikTok thing too. Y'all got to follow me because this is how you do this. You come, whatever pieces lead you, then look at it, and then you'll go from there, and then you go from there, and then you go from there, and then it builds, and then you end up hitting the key. So let's look up RAM. They want to tell me RAM truck. Exactly. RAM data. Random access memory. RAM, RAM, is random access memory. Is a form of electronic computer memory that can be read and changed in any order, typically used to store working data and machine code. A random access memory device also allows data items to be read or written in almost the same amount of time, irrespective of the physical location of data inside the memory. What? Hold on. That's like I feel like I'm reading a legal contract and I need to go back a minute. A random access memory device allows data items to be read or written. Okay, so I can read them or I can change them. In almost the same amount of time, irrespective of the physical location of data. So almost at the same time of where the data is. So basically it's saying like you can change it in real time. Am I saying that correctly? I don't know. That's how I'm picking it up. Y'all tell me. Inside the memory. In contrast with other direct access data storage media, such as hard disks and magnetic tape, where the time required to read and write data items varies significantly depending on their physical location on the recording medium due to the mechanical limitations such as media rotation, speeds, and arm movement. In today's technology, random access memory takes the form of integrated circuit, which they call IC. What's IC on your astronomy wheel? What's IC? Your IC is your stem. Your IC is your mastery. It's what type of seed your flower is going to make. So I'm going to start over. In today's technology, random access memory takes the form of integrated circuit chips with a MOS, a metal oxide semiconductor memory cells. Interesting. MO? Well, first of all, every single pedophilia ring that I had to bust in Louisiana when I first activated in order to get those pedo rings at least disconnected from the counties that Shell Corporation bought. Because in Louisiana, you have parishes. It's either run by an old bunch of church people who are in covenants from hell, or you have the corporations that bought all the land, and then literally you drive into that town and it says it's owned by Shell. The pedo rings that were in those gas stations that were connected into that in Louisiana, those men that were in there running them, I called them Moes. They even have license plate. Mo. Any of y'all got a mower? Any of y'all ever had a mow around you? Well, MOS is metal oxide semiconductor memory cells. What is the base root of the matrix? Trauma bonding. If you take every single DNA cell that we have down here, and you have a lab and you put every single DNA cell in a petri dish, and then you take one DNA cell and you shock the living crap out of it, you just changed every single cell on that table. If you tried to change the hybridized cell, then what happens is the heirloom cells are gonna change to disrupt the takeover of the hybridized cell. If you try to change the heirloom cell, then the heirloom cell is going to completely re-architect its own engineering and tune every single one of the cells in that lab to counteract whatever they're trying to do to the cell. RAM is normally associated to volatile types of memory where stored information is lost if power is removed. The two main types of volatile random access semiconductor memory are static random access memory, which they call SRAM, S-R-A-M, and dynamic random access memory, which they call DRAM, which is D-R-A-M. Well, drama. The use of semiconductor RAM dates back to 1965 when, drumroll please, I call them the weather company, IBM introduced the monolith. The monolith? I'm sorry, hold on. So in 1965, you introduced the monolith. So basically, you plugged it into the Egyptian architecture on the planet in order to get cell power, to get a cell tower. Because everything was coming in upside down. We were always coming in. We've been coming in the past 52 years. The whole world's been lining up. It's why technology is here. It's our technology. Our technology is linked all over the globe, and it talks to each other all over the globe. Well, then that's how you have to manage the world. You can't manage the world in isolation chambers whenever you have technology down here that only exists because it connects all over the world. And you can't use technology and take the people out and make the technology a gate, because we're the ones who hold the ROM and the RAM. And the RAM is Mars. So everything that Elon Musk is doing, every move that dude makes is off RAM memory. But only half of it. Both are based on bipolar transistors. While it offered higher speeds than magnetic core memory, bipolar DRAM could not compete with the lower price of the then dominant magnetic core memory, In 1966, somebody invented modern DRAM architecture in which there's a single MOS transistor per capacitor. The first commercial DRAM IC chip, the Intel 1103, was introduced October 1970. Synchronous Dynamic Random Access Memory, SDRAM, was reintroduced with Samsung. Samsung's corporate offices are in Austin, Texas. My cousin Jennifer, that screwed me in this whole damn thing, ended up doing staffing at Samsung. Like, I've had all these, even whenever I was in Austin, Texas doing technology staffing, I went to a couple of meetings at Samsung, but like you could never, honestly, like as a staffing person that was involved as much as I was throughout the state of Texas, as they were building all this, the chip factories and the technology factories and the ones that are like making this stuff, like they don't do tech there. They don't do any tech there. FYI. All right. So that's RAM. ROM. What's JP Morgan and the Morgan? And even the divine feminine shadow entity, Morgan, is made from ROM. This is why the Morgan, I mean, in the year 2020, I know one of us shapeshifted into some type of rat and went into CERN and chewed up some wires, for example. And this is like our this is how the feminine consciousness, we can move the animals around to do stuff that we can't get the people to do. Well, this is why. Hecate is basically that same thing with Heyoki. Heyoki consciousness. It's like the highest level of the carbon feminine, but it's where it transmutes. It's also like whenever you are the Morgan and you're in that energy and you're communicating with other people, whenever you're the one sending out the messages, you're not sending the message right then. The message isn't sent to you through the Morgan, like, get it to them right this very second. It's in the system. So the Morgan, like those of us who had to transmute ourselves and turn ourselves into air and whatever, coming through these systems in order to print ourselves down here, in order to get the human connection back into this dimension, every single gate that we went through would produce a Morgan type of thing to show up around you, and maybe you're just seeing it, maybe it's a group that's seeing it, but whatever's coming around, it's interfacing with you because it's showing you representation of the system in some way. Because it's already been transmuted. That's why it can show up in an animal. A feminine's already gone through it. So it's going to show up in your world as a squirrel or something like that instead, or a spider, or, it's going to show up something like that instead of a charge inside your body that if you see a spider, then it was a net. And it couldn't come from a net finicello. Like, this is how crazy the masonry is. Because remember, that's all that they were doing. They were saying that this energy is no longer this energy, it's this energy. Okay, well, then when you're the one that's the energy and you're coming through it, you end up changing into a whole bunch of different things before you come through it. All because some dudes with dicks said that that's what it was. In this current timeline, everything was tech and data. Somebody wrote it on there. Read-only memory. So ROM is read-only memory. It's a type of non-volatile memory used in computers and other electronic devices. Data stored in ROM cannot be electronically modified after the manufacture of the memory device. So all the pedo rings and all the corporation bullshit can't be changed. It can't be rewritten. It's written as a baseline. Just like JP Morgan Chase, no more ROM, no more, no more mo, no more no more What did they all do? I mean, you sit around and do a whole bunch of all the time, and then you get attacked, and you got a whole bunch of people around you wanting them to help you build up their money, and you might have money because you're doing your but then you're going to attract a whole bunch of others because you're the ones that are putting the M's out. But it's in a ROM space. And according to the system, the ROM can't be rewritten. So basically, you make the M sound, and then whatever, Ben Allen, Booz Allen Hamilton. I throw down an ignition. State your intention, Ben. State your intention, or I cut you. Ben's over here throwing. See, Ben used to be the king. That and Allen's the last name, Allen and Adams. Oh crap. Allen was all screwed up, and see, I called him in with the JP Morgan stuff, and we just talked about Morgan too. So yeah, we got you, Ben. We pulled your Allen. I pull all Allen connections from Bryan College Station, Texas. Well, then you're talking crap about yourself because you used to be black. And Ben, Uncle Ben, bye. We are definitely onto something here. I haven't thought about Booz Allen Hamilton in a really long time. If you've never heard of that, go look it up. We might have to look it up right after this. Booz Allen Hamilton. Holy crap right now with Booz Allen. Mind you, all of the banking systems that Chase originally stole after the World War II, because Chase came in and bought up all the banks, they bought up all the manufacturing plants, they bought up all the textile plants. They basically just came in and moved in. They didn't buy shit. They all just came and moved in. If you really want to get pissed off, I saw this happen in Frisco and on Preston Road. There's a restaurant there that all of a sudden I had to go ring around the rosy. And there was these group of Indian men that were just walking in and out of it. And I could tell that they were doing a real estate deal. So I went up there and asked them who'd they buy it from. And they all just looked at me square in the face. They couldn't even believe that I was watching them do it. If your family line didn't own any digital real estate, then you don't own anything on the ground, according to them, if it's one that they want. And if it's one that's hooked up in the ROM system on real estate in order to hold an entire grid system, because there's those one little stores that are on every, and you got a group of them in every town that everything's wound up on in that whole town. Probably ain't going to be where you think it is, but they are there. And they were all supposed to be handed over, and different lines were supposed to be running them. But what they did is they just moved in. They didn't pay for shit. It's what they're trying to do right now. And they want all of y'all to move to China. Now, I'm grateful because we did. We crashed that system. A whole bunch of refugees went in there. And so now what China people are seeing is how bad we have it down here. They're recognizing how bad it is in the United States of America. They're witnessing actual slavery. And all of us over here in the United States are realizing, oh, we've been bamboozled. Well, exactly. And that energy created a new energy frequency that's way more powerful than anything that was trying to hold it down. And that energy frequency and everybody that's moving over to that app did something that they didn't expect. And so there's new technology that is being already birthed and connected in order to connect all that into one universal system. The thing is, Elon Musk is trying to tell you that he owns it, and he's trying to make the everything app now. Well, I'm sorry. It was always the everything app, Elon. You're the one who sold it off for parts. And in the past 24 hours, I have gotten yet again another one to admit that they sold me. So right now, what my thing is who bought me and how much did they pay? And the current body count is 2. The reason that the body count is 2 is because any type of, our energy is so powerful now. When they throw in a hook, because they've got to, they're going to have to throw in a hook. The thing is, every single year, that hook gets further and further away from your energy field. So the original hook that took 3 people around you, you had to call the police in the middle of the night, the cops had to show up, and there was some type of attack, and then you realize, oh my God, don't call the cops at 2 a.m. in Detroit because they all work for the Covens. That original sequence, you needed 4 or 5 cops in there. There was like 8 people that were in the tiny apartment. So that's where the hook originally went in. Fast forward 2 years later, the frequency goes out. They got to make the connection. They're going to send a homeless guy or somebody. The frequency is going to go out. Whatever man or whatever person picks that up. And then just like a little avatar walks into the energy field because they need a connection, because they're going to have to send a human to make the connection. Then when that human tries to get in that bubble, they're just going to flat out, something's going to happen. In this case, I think he died. And I just gave you a real life event. Let's go back to ROM. Read-only memory is useful for storing software that is rarely changed during the life of the system. What have I been saying this whole time? We force them to cook us. Like, what they don't realize, and here's the truth of it, because the way this thing was rigged, if we did anything to them, it got done onto us. Any command that I made on them to get them off of us, to cut them from our field. Oh, you can tell. Look at Ben Allen. You're showing your Mason self, dude. Look at that. There's proof right there. I hit him from the channel. He popped back up as if I didn't do nothing. We made them recook us. They had to recook the entire collective because we changed the ROM. In fact, they woke us up to recook because from 1972 version, 1972 version, 1973 version, 1990 version, year 2000 version, year 2025 version. Sound about right? Not to mention that it's a Jubilee year and they basically had to open the gates of hell to let us all out because none of us were supposed to be down there. We were just the ones that were coming in to bring you the energy. What was down there was the power sources of everything that existed. And I showed y'all Jesus. We found him. He's in a mountain over there off the Dubai. He's got 2 metal machines on each side of him. He's sitting in the mountain. His femurs broke off. You can see a giant freaking vine coming out of his leg. In 1983, what did they do? They put me in the chair. They put the freaking 5, I don't know, there's had to be at least 6-inch needles. I don't even know how the fuck those needles didn't touch in my neck. They were so big. Serum dripping in them for over 4 hours as they had me sitting up in the chair at 11 years old, harnessing me to that MOU. "2025 Dubai has a magic city that's going to run a bunch of flying cars. It's going to fill everything. It's going to be all AI driven, and it's only going to hold 10 million people." No, it's not. In fact, the whole country's going to sink because the dragon is coming out of the planet because of what you just tried to do. Your ROM definitely changed, but it didn't go to Morgan, and it didn't go to Morrigan, and it didn't even go to a G. Ben Allen can sit here and throw the alphabet because what Ben Allen's doing is throwing lowercase n, lowercase a, lowercase. No, he's proving it to you what I'm telling you right now. RAM, read and writable. Robo emails and robocalls are nothing but a giant casting spell in this energy when you get to 0 point. Any data codes that they feed into you will take you off course if you're not aware. Or it just completely drowns your field so that you can't get a proper direction. It's impossible to stop robocalls. It's impossible to stop robo emails. You just have to learn how to block it. However, he's proven our little point over here. Let me show you what the inside of this sucker looks like. So is this the White House, or is this, I mean, this is a lot of things. I mean, this scenario is a whole bunch of buildings, a whole bunch of streets, a whole bunch of grids. It's what it is. These are like the little houses or a parking lot. Their favorite things are big parking lots to where they can just draw lines wherever they want. Golf courses. Golf courses were mining your brain power before, like, the golf courses are purposely placed in the city so that they can put down whatever flow architecture they want to put down in order to make the energy move above the city. Problem is, every single group of us down here is picking up this feed from way up here before it gets down here. This type of crap is why everything's catching on fire. We've got fires everywhere. There's a Tesla plant burning now. That's funny. That lithium Tesla plant ends up blowing the same day that Elon loses a rocket. So, Ram and Rom, I don't need to beat a dead horse. I hope that you're seeing it. It's Ram is Mars, and it's also Aries. And this is why in astronomy and with Aries in the first house, what Aries became is space. So if you really go and I'll tell you how this manifested in my world, because in my world with the brand, and this is how I also know that we're on to something with all this, because it's one of the problems we're having. House of Kochi on Kohu32.com. All of that is put into Printify. We made all those designs in Printify because it's drop ship. So we made the designs. It's all of our art. It goes on their Chinese stuff. When we upload those to our website, each one of those pictures, when you click on the blanket, and then it's like we show you the blanket open, and we want to show you what it looks like on the inside, and so there's like 4 or 5. Each one of those is not a small picture. They're massive. Those picture files, just the House of Kochi, which does have a lot in it because it does the whole zodiac, is we had to up our storage with our website twice. The reason that y'all couldn't do anything and get money to us the time before, when all of that was happening, when I was doing charts, is because we were out of space. Though now think about Etsy. Think about a website like Etsy. So my little website, Kohu32, in order to put just that out there, that's not t-shirts and all the other cool shit we want to do on a website. No, that's just that. So and Printify can't shrink those files down, and they won't. Now, the thing is that whenever you go onto Printify and then you upload it onto your website so that it works seamlessly, then when you upload it, even if you delete those pictures and replace the picture and make a smaller file picture, the big picture is still on the server because you just moved all that data over, and then you're just replacing it. So you're actually adding more data to change it. So if I need 3 freaking, I don't know, is it megs, gigs? I don't even know. In order, and I've got to pay extra for storage because it's an obscene amount to hold just that. Can you even imagine what Etsy's having? How much storage? I mean, how much storage are they having to hold just because the files are too big? So all the files being done the way they are forcing everybody to go, sign up with a fucking data center? Go under contract with a data center? Yeah. And where is it? Oh, well, it's in the server. No. The server's processing it. Where's the storage facility? I want to see the cloud. See, this cloud tech is relatively new. It's been so shoved down our throat that it's hard to even remember. But I was in tech, and Daisy brand sour cream, man, there's bigwigs in this crap, man. Daisy brand, holy shit. Stop buying Daisy brand. Everybody boycott Daisy brand. first of all. Those cats, man, all this stuff's coming out. Microsoft's trying to get out with cloud. They're trying to get all, I mean, it was a huge push. And it was a massive push. And it took years for a lot of these corporations in order to buy into this crap. And a lot of them held out for a really long time before, and a lot of them don't even mess with it. All their tech isn't cloud open source. Their tech has all the guts and plumbing that are holding on to a RAM. But if there's all that space, then where is the space? It's gated space. Well, gated space is a gated cell. It's a gated memory. It's like right now the United States is being shock activated. It's like the ROM and the because of the state of the energy grids, because there isn't any energy, then it's almost what I'm seeing in the analogy I'm getting is birth control pills. When a woman takes a birth control pill, all it is the estrogen in the body that makes the body think it's pregnant. There's that same analogy with this, with the United States, because the United States of America is basically being shocked, and it's basically the system is resetting the United States of America to a timeline to produce the energetic that the rest of the countries are mandating from us, the citizens of the United States of America. It's like the United States of America is your smart meter, and the whole world is, and they're not paying. China pays what, $10 a month for electricity? And it's literally like the presidents are there to walk out the timeline in order for the United States to produce that energy. Now, the thing is with all of this, these new timelines that are coming in, they all exist above this. I mean, this is set up. Now, it's set up. We set it up all right. It's all energetic. So like I said, the fire that went off, that's actually from the energies from when me and Natalie had to pull everything out of Pismo. And I can tell you the next thing that everybody needs to watch for is a tsunami. It's either going to be a tsunami, or the whole thing is just going to move, or it's already moving, and that's why they're freaking out. Because the ocean should look like a giant lake flying through space, not a round ball. Venus is on top of Saturn right now, so everybody should be freaking way, way scared. I mean, and I'm not joking, because Saturn's ring's almost gone. The only reason Saturn's rings were there is because it was holding an old ROM. I'm starting to even think that, I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm Venus, and so let me just tell you what I'm feeling. I feel like Venus and Saturn are going to be switching places. Venus is like mom and dad are finally having a chat about what the children have been up to, and dad's been waiting for the day to put him down. Problem is, they did it all to mom. Dad was sending orders to help mom, but all the children decided to attack mom Mom is now up with dad, and dad's like, Mom, take over. Mom's like, good, because I know exactly every move they made. All I got to do is put these little bit of rings on me and keep running around this motherfucker, and I'm Venus. So, baby, I'm the record. So I'll gladly wear this record for a minute in order to get all my crap back. My children and my women and my men are going to get something every single time this record coils. Same way you took it away from us every time you backed it up into a false system, motherfuckers. Now we know why you put Venus in jail to begin with. Now us as a collective even realize why we had so much power 2017 and 2018, and why we were cleaning the cosmos, and why we had to turn Venus back on, because we did, because Venus was dead. Venus wasn't even in the system. Nobody was printing reality down here. Everything was running through a 3D printer in a government system. Nobody was manifesting. Nobody. And you still aren't in the physical, are you? It's happening all in the spirit. It's not happening in the physical. That's because they had Venus confined in Saturn. How else are you going to rope up and run timelines like this unconsciously? How are you going to put yourself asleep, jump into a simulation, and know that you're on a record? At some point in time, there was some infringement in the solar system. The rings of Saturn were formed because it was an alternate magnetic field that was pulling the reality in the wrong direction, which ended up forming what you would call even the wheel, with the rings and how the planets were in a circle, like being in a well, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. It even could have been any, all of us coming in and creating this situation, which we knew that we did because we brought in the tech. So we could have even, and I've even keep telling everybody, I'll let you take me, man. Get me the fuck out of here. I'm done being everybody's damn planet. I'm done being Venus, and I can't manifest. And if I'm Venus and I'm not manifesting, and I'm broke, and they're taking my son, and they're tossing me around like a football, then hello. That's happening to every single person down here. Those of us that are the incarnates that got trapped in this system, and they were basically everything that we did to help y'all was coming back on us, because it's what the Judah line was. It's what he straight up told me. He told me, this is your penance for helping the people, because their only job is to make sure that you stay in prison. But I mean, what can Venus do? Now, I'll remind everybody, the family's all lined up right now. And when I say the family, I mean all the planets. And every religion down here was making you into a planet. What did the Catholics, they were binding you into Saturn. All the bullshit in the house when I talked about Calabasas. They had a mannequin head in there with a graduation hat on it. And then on top of the graduation hat, they had it taped off in a square. Whenever we built bcoachy.com and we started building the massive interface and technology, and the epic architect comes in, the government was already on my ass. We had already built all this. The interface was in a circle, and then they blocked the domain from me. They take the domain. They kept it running. Not only did they keep it running, they changed the circle to a square. And in 2022, they had all of those things in a square. It's why I'm like sitting here right now and I'm not doing anything with the brand. I refuse. I'm not going to create anything else. I'm not going to do anything else until this is lined up. But this is what we're having to do in order to do it. And I'll remind everybody that my mission here was not to come in here, get captured by everybody, have to turn into a damn Hecate and take over the consciousness and develop consciousness in order to even get humans, to even show the humans where we're at so that they could get us out. How else are we going to get them to dig? How else are we going to get them to mine? How else are we going to get him to think that they can hydrogen collide shit? How else are we going to get him to core the space-time? We're going to make it all about the money. But it never was. It was about getting us out of the planet. And every single one of them did exactly what we needed them to do it. At any time, they could have stopped. But they kept going and going and going. But it was a test. It was a test. The whole time we sat there and cried and screamed at them. They just ignored us. They didn't think they needed us. They're starting to realize they need us. We've already known that they were going to need us. I knew that they were going to come crawling on their hands and knees to me at some point. You know how I know? One of them told me. He was like, you got him. But this is what everybody needs to realize. This is what it's taken to get out of this motherfucker. This is why not one of my person. And when they finally came to save me, when they found me in a wheelchair, I thought I was in a hospital, but I wasn't. I was chained to a wheelchair. I had a time bomb on my waist. I was in some slums. And this was in the ethers. This wasn't in the physical. It would have been if we wouldn't have changed it. And the group came in. It was a mission. They came in. They found me. They had to scale up a building, a really tall building, in order to even get in to find where we were. They came in. She found me. I was completely unconscious. I was completely glazed over. She said in the ethers, it took her at least like a little while to get me to snap out of it. The whole time I'm saying, he loves me and this is his baby. He loves me and this is his baby. He loves me and this is his baby. I wasn't the only one in there either. As one of them is slapping me awake, they're getting the rest of us out of there. She said, when I finally woke up and looked at her, she said, you didn't blink. You didn't say thank you. You didn't gasp. You didn't do nothing except stare me straight in the eye and say, I know where I'm at. There's 20 below me. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to get the rest. That 20 below is why Diddy's in jail. That 20 below is why all of them are about to be locked in their rooms, the same that we are currently locked in our rooms, because I've been locked myself in my room for 2 years in order to be able to do it to them. Anything that I say to them happened to me. They thought that they had me with that. They didn't know to the extent that I do to myself in order to make sure that I could do it to them. And they didn't think that I'd be able to come out of it, but I can because of all of you, because we've cleared these lines. But every single time something like that happens with one of us, everybody in the line feels it. Were you in there in a chair with me? Were you on the floor I was on, or were you on the floor below me? And that is how they treated Gaia. It's really been hitting me the past since I woke up this morning, and since Norma Jean is doing a great job. I want to thank Norma Jean right now. I want to thank Mel. I want to thank Kim K. I want to thank, I'll pronounce her name wrong, Soy. I want to thank Rebecca. Specifically, each one of y'all were doing different pieces of that 5 in the middle of all of this, and y'all without me having to say nothing, were doing what you needed to do, downloading what you needed to download, and then you sent me a little bitty blup of it, and each one of those all connected into one big thing. Okay, which has really taken this veil off of me. And so in the ethers right now, it's all at the exact time that it needed to happen. But as far as if you're more in your feminine right now, I need y'all to please relax and be in your feminine, please. Just please relax and be in your feminine. All of us that are having to hold the last of this masculine bullshit. There's a war going outside this ship right now, and it's all about in which direction it's going to go. And the only way to make sure that it's going the direction that it needs to go is to lock them all down. And I've been having to lock them down since 2019. That rift that broke up in the Palisades is the exact V of where I had to put them in Sedona, and do cartwheels on top of that mountain with an AB negative that came to try to take it over from me and sit on the rock that was posted, sit here. Everything that they did to us for the past 4 years basically got stored up in a template. I've been telling everybody this. This is why you do not want to come against one of us, because what you don't realize is that we're the temple riders. If nobody would have attacked us, then everybody would have gotten everything. And this whole 8 years, the last 4 years and the 4 years that are set to come, never even needed to happen. But the human race can't do it yet. The human race needs to evolve. The human race in the simulation has to crack so that each person can come out of the simulation and then make a choice. If you've only lived in the simulation, you don't know any other choice. You think that your world is going to end. And in a way, it is. But and for a while, it's going to suck. It's going to feel like you're in a wagon with a bunch of horses in the Wild West, because it's what it fucking is. You're going to have to get every single nail. You're going to have to get every single board. You're going to have to do it step by step, just like the pioneers did, because that's where we are. And we aren't in Frontier Telecommunications. We aren't in Frontier. And I command Frontier fucking cut from the whole fucking thing. If they're the middle layer in all this, I'm going to scream. Hadn't thought about them in a long time, but they were there. They were there. Frontier Communications was represented whenever I was dealing with Sunset Strip and the mustard seed room. Also connected into Marco Polo. pretty much every conversation that you had for the last 4 years, every single healing that you've done, every single Zoom call that you've done, every single one is backed up. They're going to be trying to run it the next 4 years. Now, what's super interesting about all this, and I thank y'all for being on these long lives with me. I'm so ready to not have to. There's so much information as I'm uncoiling all this, and I'm literally just capturing it. If I wasn't on this live, I would be having to talk to my team. This is the good news is I can't have this conversation independently anymore because it's not an independent conversation. That's the good news for all of us as we're coming out of this. But look at this. This is where we're at right now. Notice how these two are lined up right here, and these two are lined up right here, and these two are fixing to line up. Well, you can think of that as a lock. So Venus is about to take Saturn. And Saturn, the moon, and Pluto. Saturn, the moon, and Pluto work together in your brain. So it's when you go, oh my God, I have a good idea. Well, that's Saturn, moon, and Pluto. That Pluto's aligning it from a long count. Pluto's going to have the undercurrent, the sub, and the dark side. Saturn is delivering it to you as a thought or an action because it's wrapped up in your 15 years and 7-year cycles, whatever it is, when these gates came through before, and you made decisions, or the human race made decisions. And then the moon is giving you a reflector of it from just a reflection from another angle. The moon is a big reflector. So Saturn, Pluto, and moon are the same energy as Spica. And Spica is what's in the wheat. Spica is the wheat in the Bible. Spica is prophetic tongue. Spica is prophecy. Spica is also the internet current. Spica is the Puritans, the souls of the Puritans, and the souls of the witch trials, because it's the same soul, same beings. October 14th, 2023, on that eclipse, a group of us came through Spica. The group of us that came through Spica, those of us who were managing it from the collective, from my standpoint as who I am as a whole in all of this, and as a mission and a commander, that's how you guys got in the ship. You came through Spica, but again, Spica is no body. It's you don't have a body. It's just your soul. And in the ship right now, we're all putting our bodies back together and learning how to work that ship independently. We're all, even in the ethers, this is the groups that you're working with Adventures for Connections. This is what they're doing. Tanja's doing a great job of manning the ship, while all the other ants are like running around. Tanja though can't man the ship forever. Norma Jean can't be the brain on this ship forever. And everybody's going to start doing the independent pieces. Once everybody starts doing more of the pieces, you know, then all of it, and it's all coming in exactly when we need to. Y'all are only, if the charts were done September, October, November, and December, then we're only, the ones of you who got them done in September, you're on October, November, December, you're on 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, and some of you, there's only a couple that your chart didn't go out until December. I had to wait. So we're still, all of that is still in play. It hasn't even, you haven't even hit your catalyst on your alignment. If I did your chart for 3 months, as far as your overall energetic catalyst. So at like 3 months, you're over, that's what you get a glimpse of at 3 days. Whenever I do your chart at 3 days, whatever happened, that then y'all were all telling us, you know, this is what happened. I felt like this. Whatever that was at 3 days that you witnessed at 3 months, that's whenever you're holding that energy. It's going to, at 6 months, then we made a big wave. Now our energies, all of us, every single chart is one massive wave. And then that wave is going to start running in a current. It won't be done for 9 months. At 10 months, we're going to all get, we'll get together and we'll be like, okay, does Cohue 32 and Adventures for Connection need to still work like this? Do we need to split it off? Here's the harvest. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's not do this. Let's add this. Let's do this. Let's bring this person in. Let's bring this group in. Okay, cool. That's 9 months. Now we've got 10 months ready. Then the 11 month, those separations start going into effect. Those additions start coming in. And then 12 months hit. Everything's being rebirthed and separated and put into the new. The two different energies would separate. And then boom, now we keep going. Or you say, man, that was a crazy ride. I get it now. And I'm off the boat. That's cool too. No matter, and this is what all these demons made the mistake of with me. And for some reason, they didn't think that this was a problem with me. So obviously, in the other time counts, it never was a problem. But if you come in and do healing with me, and then you fucking just leave, and you vanish, and you're tied to me. Now, reading a chart and getting paid for it's totally different. I'm talking about not totally different. You paid for it, so it's not like there's an exchange. I'm talking about the beings that were showing up pretending to help me in order to steal stuff, were making me and forcing me heal a bunch of stuff in their DNA so that then they could make a higher level connection. And then as soon as they make the higher level connection, then they cut and run. Well, you're my bitch until I cut you off. And no matter, you're my bitch for 12 months from the point you left. And I can keep that ball going. Now, for whatever reason, all the other beings that they did this to, all these other eons of time, evidently that wasn't the case, because they weren't worried about it. That goes for every single one that came around y'all. This is why you have to be super careful, because those demons have to come around in order to give you your crap back. You're ordering them to. They're going to have to show back up. That energy is going to show up to you in some way. The problem that we always had as a pure soul is keeping them around when they came back in. And because they'll come back in, they'll show up. Even them showing up is introducing that energy back into the field. They have to give it back. So we have to be really careful This is why these characters will come back into your life. Remember though that they're supposed to show up and heal it and correct it. They're supposed to show up and heal it and correct it. When you open the door with full faith, thinking, okay, you're coming in to finally give everything back, and then they say, no, you've got to do this, this, and this. Oh shit. Hopefully you're going to open the door and they're going to go, oh, I'm really sorry, you know what, for some reason you left your destiny in my back seat. I don't know how, but I just know, because I know that this ain't mine and I think it belongs to you. Interesting. Destiny in the back seat. The first thing that pops up is Natalie's dream. Natalie had a dream. She got killed in the backseat of a car. She woke up in her dream and she goes, wait a minute, I don't like this ending. Show me the other 5. It's 138. Show me the other 5 versions. So I collect those versions and those virgins, and then I put those timelines out to all the versions and virgins that are in my frequency. Jason, there's always been video. I just haven't shown you anything. It's interesting there's a Jason showing up too. Thank you for being here. It's interesting you popped in right when I said that, because I was talking about the Joseph JSON. JSON, J-S-O-N, is all C# library. No, it's not. Right now we're undoing all hashtags on the planet and satellite systems. Hashtags, the whole world got hashtagged. So 15 and see those gypsy lines, like, you guys, man, we have done everything we can to help y'all, but y'all just continue to want to like go with the opposition, even though you're our brothers. So what y'all follow, y'all Egyptian gypsy lines were the most set up in all of this. If you are adjacent or your name starts with a J, I wouldn't take any direction from a male figure at all right now. I do not for the next 60 days. If you have a problem or you have some type of something event that comes up in your life, and you have any elder, maternal, or you have a spiritual friend that's a girl or whatever it is, I would get with them first, relay the problem, and let them give you a solution. And then you're going to need to take a little bit of what she says, and you're going to need to take a little bit of what the Brotherhood's having you do, and you need to weave them together in order to get yourself out. Because daddy's no longer in charge. And mom's going to give it to you in a way better way than daddy. But I can promise you, mom's pissed. And mom is the lessons that are about to be taught down here are not Saturn Old Testament lessons. They're going to be New Testament lessons. Dad knows he's got to get with mom. I mean, the reason that this wheel was even formed is I was an Antares princess. That's why my draconic chart looks the way it does. In my world, I got kidnapped from dad. Why? Because dad was the main reptilian that was going over and taking over the world. I was a princess. I was a pain in the ass. I was worse. I was worse than any woman down here that you think has got some type of issue with thinking that she's all that. I mean, there's a reason I got left behind before. There's a reason that I know what happened a million years ago. In my world, dad and mom are the black and white dragon. In my world, mom and dad had the most perfect relationship I'd ever seen, to be honest. It's what we all feel down here we're looking for, and for whatever reason, we haven't been able to find it. The black dragon and the white dragon, they equal each other out. I'm explaining yin and yang. Black dragon and the white dragon, they'd always communicate. The black dragon would always go to the white dragon and get her knowledge and figure out how to plan it and do anything. If you didn't have mom and the women's support, then the army didn't go nowhere. Dad didn't have a problem with that. Dad's men had a problem with that. Dad's army had a problem with that. Dad's army wanted to go pillage the universe. Dad's army wanted what dad had. Dad's army was tired of seeing dad and mom and the princess set up in the castle and think that everything's so fucking perfect for us. But no. Whenever you're the princess of the black and white dragon, then you're the one that holds balance between all black and white. You're the fucking line. If dad got upset, mom sent me. If mom got upset, dad sent me. I balanced both of them. You take me, I'm an immortal being, and I don't die. And you kidnap me, and you take me somewhere, number one, mom and dad ain't ever gonna stop looking for me. Number two, dad loses his shit. Number three, now who is traveling the universe looking for me, pillaging? Now, I just described every single war and how it all got started throughout time in the human history. You make one big black dragon, the white is always going to balance it out. The black can't get any bigger without the white getting bigger. You make one, if there's 50 million black dragons and the factions get together and say, okay, we're going to build a pyramid system on the black dragon, and then we're going to give one dragon all the power at the top. Okay, then you made one fucking big dragon. Well, then you just made 50 million white dragons in order to balance your ass. And until it comes into balance, then every single one of those black dragons is going to get unleashed. And then the top one ain't going to have any power. And then all the black dragons, I guarantee you, when half those black dragons get released, or it might not even take it, shit, might happen on the third rung. All the black dragons are going to be like, screw this. We can finally get out of here and take over that motherfucker. All my women are over there. What's so crazy about my world is that in my twin world, I ended up, at the beginning, I ended up with all his men. I had his army, and he had all my women. Then it flipped. It flipped in like 2022 when I went raw. Then all of a sudden, I had all the women, and he had all the men. None of y'all are in union because he's still thinking I owe him something. Although he's 5, he's only a knight. And he only got knighted because he set me up. He's in a chain to China. Any pockets of space that need to collapse, I'll order them collapse now. I just order them to collapse. If it's a pocket of space that's being held up by charging human energy, then I order it to collapse. I mean, and we're rewalking Pisces. So, you know, we're rewalking Pisces. This is all this stuff with Joshua, and it's the full what the religions built were the Mo's. The religions built the Ram. All of it manifested. Your Christ was here, but your Christ was being held down underneath the planet, carved up, being called an alien, all the DNA being sold to everybody in NATO to produce super soldier lines in every country. In order to become Christ, you had to pass a whole bunch of series of tests down here, and it was at least a 5 lifetime gig. Christ does exist, but it all played out on ground. It's a program, but it does exist. Clean DNA does exist. It has existed down here. No disease, no mental illness, none of that. You don't need any of that. All of that was produced by the machine. The Christ program has been developing that this whole time. If we wouldn't have had the Christ program, you wouldn't have Shaw, and you wouldn't have the Sierra, and you wouldn't have any of this other bullshit. The reason that the collective manifests Christ to come down here, and as soon as you get here, you get trapped. That's why no more Christ. There is no more Hail Marys. This was it. And it took a Hail Mary in order to pull it off. And then as soon as we got Mary here, then y'all got Jesus, and everybody fucking sealed this bitch up and called it a day. Then Mary was trapped. Now you've got an AI mom. So you put the feminine dragon and you put a princess in the lowest density, and basically it blew up. I don't know in that timeline if I was a person or a dragon. I know that whenever I got down into this density is a dragon, because that's what blew up. It created the Big Bang. Those were the codes that came in January 6, 2019. We've been rewriting and putting back together. We blew the ROM. Because the ROM was only existing from a Mo. You're an angry bird lady? Angry burb. Lady. Interesting, that's coming up too. Lady. Still not sure what Lady was doing in my world. She just kept and ran. They all do. The other thing I noticed that when I was around them, it's like when we'd started entering that new energy, because prettier people would start showing up around us. And then it's like as soon as the person around me that was trying to steal my energy saw this higher class of people coming into our reality, then that's when they'd cut from me. Because we print a higher reality for them. Not anymore. Now we're collecting everything that y'all stole and we're unwinding it. And you should be terrified, because this is the grandfather clause, and you trumped yourself. So literally you have to rebirth yourself, and that's it. It is what it is. Either you have the ability to do it or you don't. All of us do. And it definitely isn't going to go any other way, because you still got people over here fucking with me. And it's being allowed. And they're being paid to do it. In a gated time system. Algorab, this one right here, and this is thanks to Norma Jean. 12 to 14 degrees, which is the scale. Algorab, this determines your 12-hour clock from AM to PM. Algorab holds 12 hours. AM to PM, you mean sun to moon? I'm sorry, but that is the golden mean. You are the sun and the moon. Why is it that the sun and the moon come up over? You've got source, which is way bigger than the sun that you think that you have anyway. China just put that motherfucker up there for 15 minutes. And then we had to blow out of it. So sun and moon and the 12-hour clock and the sun and the moon and 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. and whatever's been being done with that, flipping back and forth in time and to keep people offset, to keep them offset, that's gone. You lost your hinge. So everybody that's running plays at 12 p.m. is going to run into it at 12 a.m. Everybody that's running plays at 12 a.m. is going to get blocked at 12 p.m. Nothing can be done in the dark. And we've got 12 hours every day to decide what prints. And it won't print on a prince. Only because you won't allow it print on a princess. So we see what happens next. We see what happens next. It's very slow and go right now. For all of you that are in your feminine energy and you're listening to me having to explain this masculine energy, then it's just for your consciousness, so you know what's going on right now. So you know what's going on. We're counting on all of y'all to stay in your feminine energy as much as you can. This is to all the ones who are already in their feminine energy. You need to stay in your feminine energy as much as you can. When you get an alert, you'll know where to send it and who to send it to and who you have contact with. Or you'll know that you need to get a hold of somebody in order to get a hold of somebody to let them know. Because that's your next question. Who do I need to tell? For all the feminines, this is what our job is going to be when our unions come in. Our job is not to tell the men what to do. They're their own person. They're going to have to make their own decisions, even whenever you come into union with them, whenever you're around them. However, the men, you have to listen to your women. And if you don't, then you're going to get spanked even fucking harder. For the women, you cannot sit there and take it anymore. From anybody. You have to learn how to communicate to the ones around you what you're feeling so that it doesn't trigger them. But you have to bring it into awareness when you're feeling some kind of way. You can't just swallow your energy anymore because you're picking up spells and they're subconscious. And the men and the adults that are in your life, they don't know that they're doing it. You're picking it up. They're being controlled by another energetic. You're coming out of a controlled energetic. You're picking up stuff that's happening above and below the family. If you swallow it and you don't say anything, the spell will hit. The only thing that stops it from going on a recoil is for you to tell somebody what it is that just bothered you. And it might be crazy shit. When I had to cut and run out of here, because I did. At one point, I had to leave this house with nothing but the dress on me, a flower stem in my purse. I didn't even have bra and underwear on. I just died in the bathroom, like literally peed myself all over the floor. Martha and Al, I mean, I mean, they are what they are. They never have any emotion about anything with me. So if I was a dog, they'd be upset, but I'm not. So I just peed the floor. I'm in the bathroom screaming, crying because I can't even stand up. And she's in there boiling chicken. Well, in my world, undoing a chicken spell and undoing the human race out of bindings of a chicken in order to make you a really small fairy person, because chicken was right after deer processing. I had already been through deer processing. I came in 1972 as a deer. They had already deered us all. That's why they say deer. Don't let any of them call you deer, and stop calling people deer. Because to all of us, a deer, if you call us deer, then you're AI. Mo. An AI Mo. She wouldn't stop cooking that chicken. I came around that corner and I knew it wasn't about her boiling chicken. It was about the exact minute that she was doing it. It was everything that was hooked into her. It was the people that were cooking meat that just killed me in the bathroom that were trying to attach into the field of her putting me on a pot, just like Hansel and Gretel. It was a very specific moment in time that hasn't happened again. But she would not let me take the car. She would not let me leave the house. And so I walked out of here. The people in your house are going to be doing shit like that. If a spell is if you were being cooked, they're going to have to use somebody around you in order to cook. They're going to have to, if you're the pig, and you're going to be invited to a pig roast. Are you going to go? That all depends on the collective energy and what's going on and how tuned in. If you invite me to a pig roast on one day, I might tell you, hell fucking no, go cook yourself. You wait 1 month, I'd be fine with it. That's what's showing up around the high frequency beings. That's why you can't and somewhat spell work. That happens in action and in words. So if all of a sudden, they say your man says something to you and you're like, oh my God, like look, honey, I don't even know what it is. What'd you just say? Can you say it one more time? Oh God, what is it about that? I'm sorry. Like, I don't even, this doesn't have anything to do with you. It's got to be with the phonetics and the word and what time it is or something. But holy crap, you just said that word. I'm sorry. It's triggering me right now. I need to go figure out what that word is. Do you fucking care if he thinks you're nuts? Would you rather be cooked or him think you're nuts for a minute? By the way, if he continues to think you're nuts, then you better get the fuck away. I can tell you what changed after that. What changed all of a sudden is that Michelle landed in my lap. I didn't even know that she had booked a trip from the Netherlands. Lo and behold, we got to end up over there. We were at Top Golf. Top Golf is a big part of all this with energy wrangling. Top Golf was started down here in Texas. And then everything changed with Martha and Al. Everything changed. Like, I don't know. Martha really started listening to me. Then that was when I had to start healing her. So it worked in perfect timing. Al he's so in that military ROM energy. He's just, he's Southern. He grew up in a little bitty town that ain't even got a gas station anymore. You know, he grew up in military schools. He went to Texas A&M. You know, don't yell at the boss. I mean, you know, I was CEO, and he was telling me, don't piss off the man, you know. Well, he was right in that old program. What they have Al do is on the men's side, they collect stuff. They got tons of collections. They got collections of tools. They got collections of cars. They got collections of china. They got collections of cards. They collect shit. And then the man is just a normal little man, and he thinks that he's just going in the garage and pulling out all his old tools. All of a sudden, he's thinking about an old tool bag, and he can't stop thinking about these tools. And so he goes out and he gives the tools. And he doesn't realize that the energy's making him go pull out his grandfather's toolbox, because how they're cooking me up here is connecting to that Hasler Hitler line, Haisler from Czechoslovakia and Scandinavia. And he even pulls out the little box that's got the chain I know that's supposed to go around my neck. It's got the ovary scooper that was taking out the ovaries. It's got a pack of mugwort in it, and it's got all the alchemy tools that I need in that one little cigar box in order to take out the cook. And that's why Obama had a floater in Martha's Vineyard. But my adopted dad, he was just picking up the subconscious to go dig that box out. They didn't want me to know what to do with it. They just needed that box out. And they needed to see who had it. Because whenever they send out that signal, it's sending everybody to their garage to go look through their collected shit. This is why Mormons have tons of old crap. They kept everything. They are the origin. This is why hoarding is a thing. It's a subconscious program that you got to keep all these attachments, and that you've got to be able to pull them up in a lickety split in order to keep your position. That's why they have it. So the last command that I'm just going to make as a whole, and it's 2:04, and then I'm going to hang up. That's on an 06, because I've been shown this the past 24 hours, because this is all about the United States of America. This is all about the Native American wars and everything that went down here, and who says they own the land. Well, guess what? None of you do. None of you own the land. You thinking that you do is what kept it in the same position. You wouldn't allow it to evolve because you want to be the one standing on it. But it needs to evolve. And as far as I'm concerned, what I've seen down here in the United States of America, and what was the connection between it all, was the Mormon faith. And I believe that the Mormon faith, because in the middle of all this, especially August 2000, and I'm just going to show my face on this one. I look like holy hell, but I'm doing it. I don't freaking care. I don't even have my light on, so it's going to be dark. This is what I look like right now. I look a mess. When I was at the AC undoing this, because they were using me in order to set up the dimensions to steal from the 6th to the 8th dimension on top of the Star Stadium in Frisco, Texas, where the original AI city began. We contacted the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that has been popping up all over Texas in the past year. All of a sudden, come out just... And it's Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, specifically. When all this was going on, because all my elders are dead. Our church was really small. And the Mormon Church held all of the DNA templates for presidents. It was like a presidential template party. And it was made up of all the equinox and sacrificed children. Okay, well, we called a couple of Mormon faiths. I called two. I told them what was going on. I told them who I was. I told them my family name and how I was attached into it. I explained to them how the government's been trying to stop what the true meaning of Christ and what all this was, and they didn't want to hear it. The two I talked to completely ignored me. When I got to the AC hotel, then Ari Carlos, who was intertwined with this in the government, and I don't know how all that's going to end up. I'm hoping that it ends up somehow connecting something in the hires, because they were using him in a different way than they were using me, but they had us together. And basically, he was mimicking the Arabian, everything done with the Middle East. So first, and he calls, because he has a contact. So he calls and he talks to a tribe of them who decide not to help. So here's what I really think. I think that the United States of America and all the land grabs and everything that was happening with Brigham Young, and then all the blood and murder of everybody murdering each other in the United States, and that entire sedation level, which was holding the middlemen and middle stuff that then was come in and take over by what you'd call aliens or galactics or evil intention, was all built on a Mormon infrastructure, and I claim it and I collapse it. I had to cut Utah at the end of 2022 because of Povo. There's no longer a Utah connection to me. So there's no longer a Utah connection to Vegas. So there's no need for you to kill people anymore and take them to Vegas. There's no need for you to breed anymore in order to make warlords. There's no need for Indian people to marry 20 people because they no longer have to mimic the Mormons doing it, which then resulted in the selling of every feminine down here across space-time from the Middle East, which you'd consider the melanin, and from the white people. And this is how all of your queens and all your feminines ended up, and your daughters are missing. And they got taken in all the in-between. So we cut it. And let's see what happens next.